An under-discussed story in the energy transition is the role of enabling technologies, and one of those is artificial intelligence. So I'm going to talk to Dr. Kai-Philipp Kairies of ACCURE Battery Intelligence about how their battery monitoring system is being used by the Berlin public transport system, and he'll explain the technical details of it. But welcome to the interview, Kai-Philipp.
Hi, Markham. Nice to be here.
Look, this is really interesting because, there's a lot of concern around, there's some concern around safety issues with lithium ion batteries. There's also some concern around, getting the maximum efficiency from the batteries, the case of range for transportation like buses and LRT and so on. What can you tell us about this, this pilot project with BVG?
Yeah, sure. So BVG, the Berlin Transport Authority, like so many transport authorities around the world, has committed to going fully electric over the next decade. So by 2030, some by 2035, some by 2040. And if we're looking at these companies or institutions, that can easily be 1,000 or more buses on a single transport authority. In the case of Berlin, it's 1,600 electric buses that they want to get on the road over the next 10 years. And that's a lot of electric buses, right? So they will have to source from various suppliers. They will see different battery generations. They will see different battery chemistries and all these things. And so all of the complexity that comes with batteries and battery electric buses now is, I want to say, the problem or challenge of companies that have not been dealing with batteries until very recently. And so they're looking for solutions right now to support them in making smart decisions on how to operate these assets, which, to buy, or if there's maybe some irregularities coming, how to deal with them.
Now, if I understand this correctly, the buses will generate data about the batteries. That data goes up into the cloud in real time. Your system monitors the data in real time, and then there's a dashboard. Somebody in the transit authority will have a dashboard on their computer, and they can monitor that data. There will be alarms if there are problems with a battery cell, that sort of thing. Have I got it? Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. It's really about looking into the safety, the performance, and the health of the batteries. Safety, unfortunately, has been quite a topic in Europe over the past year. We had relatively large events in Stuttgart, in Hanover, in Düsseldorf, in London, and in Paris. So in all 5 cases, there were electric buses burning down. And of course, this is concerning to municipalities, to transport authorities. And by adding another layer of safety, by using cloud computing, cloud analysis, we know just from experience from other sectors that a huge part of these incidents can be prevented. And so that's one great way to use this data, which is already generated in the buses every day.
So let me understand this correctly. So the bus's battery may have a manufacturing defect. One of the cells has I think it's called thermal runaway, where the temperature elevates. That's what then causes the fire in the battery, if I understand correctly. And your software can detect when there are abnormalities in any of the cells, and then can instantly alert the transit authority, which then can take the corrective measures that are required. Is that correct?
Yeah. So of course, when a thermal runaway happens, it's already too late. So it's really about finding irregular behavior before it becomes dangerous. And we're quite happy to see that in the cases where we were able to validate our safety analytics, that we were able to spot incidents weeks ahead of something actually happening. And this is really the benefit of predictive analytics that use machine learning, use physical models, and which is in that regard more powerful than, for example, having a gas sensor that recognizes, oh, electrolyte is being vented, so something is about to happen in the next 5 minutes, versus, oh, something might happen in the next 2, 4, or 6 weeks. And so not only can you prevent the fire, but you can also avoid downtime from being warned about something, on a very short notice. So that way it's easier to plan for these companies.
What about efficiencies? I mean, everybody, I think in the transit industry, they want a longer range for their electric buses. Can the kind of predictive monitoring, the predictive maintenance that you're doing, can it also do operational efficiency planning, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, one particular issue that many transport authorities face is that the range of an electric bus varies drastically over the seasons. So in winter, the range you have on a bus might be substantially smaller because of the low temperatures. The battery just will not get you that far. And being able to put an exact number on what you can expect on any given day on this bus will just allow you to use your bus more efficiently, versus having very large buffers because you're scared that you might end up not making the route. And so in terms of efficiency, this is really helpful. And one other part that we've seen with almost every customer, I want to say, in the e-mobility field, is when you buy buses as a municipality, you buy certain specifications, saying range or speed of charging, or some of these other things. And then in reality, we find out that many of those buses do not fulfill the specification that they were bought at. But it's very hard for municipalities to figure out that they're not performing as specified, and to actually make claims, because again, how, right? It's very hard to prove that. And cloud monitoring, as we provided, is really powerful in automatically spotting these things and giving you a full proof of what's happening, really.
Now you're doing some pilot projects, and I understand that you've got other customers who are kind of in the e-mobility field. Do you see this expanding into anytime there's a significant amount of stationary storage, and there could be grid scale for utilities to support wind and solar. It could be residential, as residential solar expands, it's often paired with a battery. And of course, fleets of electric vehicles. Is this kind of monitoring, cloud monitoring, is this going to become almost a requirement in order to, not guarantee, but improve safety and operational efficiencies?
I mean, there's certainly many ways to improve the safety and reliability and lifetime of batteries. I think cloud monitoring is a very powerful one, because it can be retrofitted to already existing systems. It only uses data that's already there, and it allows you to do a lot of things with a single investment. So I think it's quite powerful in that regard. Whether it will become mandatory, it's hard to say, but we can just see from the market dynamics. You mentioned stationary storage systems. Many of our customers come from that field, and we're now looking, where 2 or 3 years ago, a 20 megawatt hour system was considered big. We're now speaking about 2 gigawatt hours, right? So there's a huge uptick in the sizes of system and how they're used. And I believe with the increasing diversity also in batteries, LFP, LMO, high amounts of silicon in the anode, it's only going to be more complex. And having a solution that manages that complexity, I think for a lot of companies will be something they will either try to build themselves or source from partners.
Great. Kai-Philipp, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you.